happened to catch this Wayspot review frequently asked questions that was updated 20 days ago. I decided let's go through this in a video. Now this first one is something that I see so many times in the forum. My Wayspot nomination was accepted but does not appear in my games. Where did it go? Their answer is, thank you for your contribution, Explorer. Getting a Wayspot nomination accepted is a great accomplishment. You should be proud. Ha, okay, yeah. In other words, thank you for doing our work for free. All right. Your accepted nomination has been added to Niantic Map and helps keep it fresh and engaging for all users around the world. While your accepted nomination is guaranteed to show up in our database, all other Niantic products, such as Pokemon Go, Ingress, etc., choose which and how to include accepted Wayspots from the database. While not all accepted Wayspots will show up in every one of our games, it will be available for future products to include as they see fit for their experience. Each game has its own schedule as to when it will sync with the database. It can take up to 48 hours for the systems to update and for those Wayspots chosen to appear in game. Now notice, they chose their word carefully. They said future products. That doesn't necessarily mean games, because Niantic is trying to get this stuff into a database so that they can sell location-based products. It doesn't have to be a game. How much time do I have to review a nomination? This one, thankfully for me, they say 20 minutes, because what I do when I make a video is I look at it and I say, this would be a perfect one for a video, and I record it, and sometimes I mess it up and have to record it again. Sometimes I go to record one and it times out, and then I never put the video together. But I really appreciate that 20 minutes. Will anyone ever read my comments? If you watch some of my videos, you'll notice that sometimes I put comments in there, especially if I think it's somebody abusing the system. And they responded, comments are available to Niantic support and may be used if an additional review is required. The information may also be used to provide feedback to Wayfarers that continue to submit nominations that do not meet acceptance criteria. I'm going to skip this. Why are there no Wayspots available for me to review? It's probably for rural players. As a city player, I've never encountered it, but basically that just means that there's nothing else in your area to review, and when something else comes to view, they'll give it to you. I failed the test to become a Wayfarer. When will I be able to retake it? Now, if you're just starting to do this, you're in luck, because I know people who were banned from Wayfarer because they took the test and failed. You got 3 attempts and you failed, and so they weren't allowed to go into Wayfarer. But they have since reversed that. Their answer is you are able to take the quiz an unlimited number of times. We believe that practice makes us better. If you fail the quiz, we advise you to go back, review the Wayspot criteria, and try again. Next question, can I edit a misspelling in the title or description? Their answer is, at this time, reviewers cannot edit submissions beyond suggesting a new real-world location. If the title or description does not violate acceptance criteria, vote accordingly. Once the Wayspot is live, other Wayfarers will have the opportunity to submit an edit and suggest a better title or description. In other words, if you see like a punctuation error or capitalization errors or spelling errors, don't deny the nomination based on that. They'll catch it later. If I suggest a new real-world location for a nominated Wayspot, how is that suggestion used? Their answer is, when enough Wayfarers have suggested a new real-world location and an agreement is reached, Wayfarer will automatically reposition the Wayspot if it is accepted. How many analysis does it take to make a final decision on a Wayspot's eligibility? Their answer is this exact number cannot be disclosed at this time. However, we can say that this depends on the performance of each individual Wayfarer. I think they're not specific about number because it really depends on how people vote and how often. you know, if enough people vote 5, then it's probably going to go through pretty quickly. And I've nominated some murals or some other things that have just gone through really fast. And then there's other things that may confuse people. Like I think I mentioned before, a gazebo in voting for 2 years at an apartment complex. That tells you if it's taking a long time, reviewers are kind of confused and they're not quite sure how to vote. And Niantic is doing its best to pick the best representation of that nomination before they push it out. What should I consider when answering, should this be a way spot? Their answer, considering the photo, title, and description submitted in the nomination, does it seem like it would be a good way spot based on the criteria? This is not an overall rating for the nomination. Next question. Should I consider proximity to nearby way spots or way spot density when analyzing a nomination? Their answer, no. As long as the nomination is not a duplicate of an existing way spot, it is eligible to become a way spot. Each Niantic app has its own proximity rules to determine whether it will be included in the app. And here's something to consider as well. If something is removed, say there's several things in the area and not all of them is showing up in a game, well, if one thing goes away, say a statue is removed, it's going to make something else go live, or it could make something else go live. So consider that. It may not be in the game, but that doesn't mean it's always not going to be in the game. Should the size of a nomination be taken into account? This is a good one. Yes, a good way spot nomination should be relatively easy to locate in person. If a way spot is too small, it may be difficult to verify their real-world location. If you come across a high-quality nomination that's small in size, we recommend you use the supporting photo and description to provide more context on the nomination's location. Something that comes to mind for me are those darn survey markers. I haven't gotten one of those in a while. All right, next question. Should the sign for a Wayfarer nomination be marked as a duplicate if there is already a way spot for the object the sign represents? Their answer is, if the sign is a significant distance from the object, then it should be considered on its own. If it is close, such as with a church sign and a nearby church building, then it should be marked as a duplicate. Using the church example, I have one near me where the church is up on a hill and the sign is down by the road. That is quite a distance, so in that case, both would qualify. But if you happen to have a sign right in front of the church, only one of those would qualify. Should I consider the quality of a photo when analyzing a nomination? Their answer is, if the photo is so poor quality that you were unable to judge or verify the nomination, taken from a third party, or ineligible as defined in the acceptance criteria, provide a 1-star vote for the question, should this be a way spot? And select the relevant rejection reason. But you also got to consider that some people may be reviewing these on a cell phone, so a photo you may think is good, they may think is too dark. I tried to take one that was kind of like artistic, you know, and it was kind of getting close to sunset, and it was a little bit darker, but there were lights in the foreground, you know, it looked really cool. No, they said it was a poor quality photograph, so don't try to be artistic. All right, well, that is all of the questions. Hopefully they add more questions and responses again, and if I see any more, I will make a new video.